Hey, it's Jeff Ross here. Welcome to the Head Smack podcast.
You are listening to conversations with misfits, mavericks, and trailblazers.
Hey, welcome to the Head Smack podcast. My name is Paul Pavolny, and I am excited to have another conversation with a misfit here today. I have Jeff Ross, the lifestyle dad, and Australian and New Zealand ambassador for the Los Angeles Tribune, entrepreneur, speaker, and coach, helping leaders master AI, social selling, and attraction marketing to create impact, freedom, and legacy. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm fantastic, mate. Thank you very much for this opportunity to get on your podcast.
No worries, man. Sorry about messing up your bio read there, but we recovered and we are ready to go today. So you are coming all the way from Tasmania.
Yeah, where the Tassie Devil.
Appreciate you doing this.
Where's that? Where the Tassie Devil lives, right? Yes.
Yeah. I've actually visited Tasmania and actually did see some Tasmanian devils. Was kind of disappointed that they didn't do the whole spinning around and the thing. But I was pretty impressed. Saw actually one climb a leg of one of the people that were watching and scamper up their leg to get some food. But man, thank you so much for doing this. I'm looking forward to our conversation today. Looking forward to hearing more about what it means to be a laptop lifestyle dad. And then also some of the stuff about AI and social selling and all of that good stuff. And so before we get started, what I'd like to do is I'd like to kind of hear a little bit about your backstory, a little bit about your origin story, just to learn a little bit more about you and your journey to becoming a laptop lifestyle dad. And so you can start as far back as would be relevant, but tell me a little bit about the origin story of Jeff.
Yeah, look, I can see the Superman hero logo behind you. So from one geek to another, I get it. Yeah, so 2010 is pretty much where I started online. In my early 20s, I had a horse jump on my neck. And lucky to be alive, lucky to be walking, talking, the whole lot.
Whoa.
But the result of that, with that hoof print tattoo on the back of my neck, was I ended up with 3 crushed discs in my neck, and my brachial plexus in my shoulder was totally shot. I actually lost mobility on my right arm. I had to retrain it. And,
wow.
New dad at the time, newly married, and I left school at year 9, so I didn't have a degree or anything like that. I was a labourer. I worked on horse studs and cattle stations, and so the doctors pretty much wrote me off. And they said, right, well, there's not much we can do for you. You've got chronic pain syndrome. You've got all this. They give me a laundry list of things, and said, sorry, we've pretty much just got to put you on a disability pension for the rest of life. I said,
wow.
Thanks. So I had an identity crisis. And as a guy growing up in Australia, in Western New South Wales, it's sort of pretty much the mentality is cowboy up, type sort of mantra. And so when I couldn't provide for my new family that I've just started and all of that, I thought I hit a crisis moment. But then I come out of that and I've gone, right, well, I had a really good mentor and friend. He said, well, you got nothing but time on your hand. What are you going to do with it? So I went to, the online marketing world. This is way back in 2010 now. And, started learning how to make money online. And I started how to build websites. I started to learn how to sell, do through direct sales. And I learned all about Facebook ads and funnels and email marketing and even a thing called solo ads way back when. And so I went through.
So how did you learn it? Was it just trial and error? Was it people that you followed? Was it some sort of training that you did to learn some of that? Because that was very early on. Yeah. People hadn't quite figured everything out yet. The iPhone had just come out, 2007. So how did you learn some of that stuff?
Yeah, great question. I found a coaching. It was one of the very sort of first online coaching programs. It was called Six Figure Mentors. It was based out of the UK. And this fellow by the name of Stuart Ross had worked out some of this stuff, and I just became a student. So I signed up. It was a direct selling company. So you signed up the course, you paid the XYZ amount, and that also then positioned you as an affiliate where you could go sell the course and that type of thing and get 50% commissions on the sales. And so I started that. That's where I cut my teeth. And in that process, they were teaching you how to build websites and funnels and all of that sort of thing. So I became the Australian pioneer leader in that space pretty quickly. I worked it all out. I just became a student and went through the whole learn, do, teach model, and I had my first taste of success in that space. And so much so that I worked out Facebook ads. This community hadn't done Facebook ads yet, so I became their their teacher in that space to teach people how to do Facebook ads. And that was my first taste of actually mentoring and coaching people. And
what was your first successful website or funnel?
It was for myself. I had a blog website, and I was just basically just journaling my journey. And I did a 100-day blog challenge where I was just basically the life and the day of a newbie affiliate marketer. And I just shared my lessons freely and that sort of thing. I got no results for 100 days. But on 101 day, I remember it clear, on the 101 day, I got my first sale from it. And just being consistent.
And what were you selling at that point?
The coaching program. I was leading people into that, the direct sales coaching program.
Okay.
And then I decided to go out on my own. And I started one of Australia's first full stack digital marketing agencies. And so I sort of helped pioneer that space early on. And look, it was okay. It was nothing to rave home about, but it was paying the bills. I started, with a partnership, and I learned my first real reason why you don't go into partnerships with people that you don't really want to get married to. The partnership fell over about 18 months into the journey. I kept it going. And fast forward to 2017. Now we've got the whole fad of drop shipping just starting. And I came across a guy by the name of Adrian Morrison. And so Adrian Morrison had this coaching program for e-commerce Success Academy. And he's now one of the big names with Shopify as one of their big teachers now. So I met Adrian right back when he first started, and I became one of his first protege students in that space. Followed his blueprint to the letter. I already had some experience around Facebook ads for what I was doing in that space. And he was all about, Facebook advertising. Basically the whole model was go find products from AliExpress, go start a Shopify website, sell those products, to your consumers, then go order that product on their behalf and get it drop shipped to their door. And so I followed that blueprint to a letter, and I had my first $1 million success off the back of that. We did $1.6 million in 4 months.
Wow.
And,
What was the product? Do you remember?
Stuffed toy elephant, of all things.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You did $1 million in just selling stuffed toy elephants.
Why?
Why was it so popular?
Because of how I positioned it, and it's about putting the right product in front of the right people at the right time, right? So I started a community which was called Blessed to be a Mum. And at this time in my journey, I was, in my crisis moment, I was an atheist, but in that journey, I also found God and I came to faith. So I was a new Christian in this space. And my wife and I, really going all in that space, we started a Facebook group called Blessed to be a Mum. And so we just started a Facebook group, grew to about 10,000 people very quickly. And
why that name?
Because Sarah was a young mum, we were young Christians. And so we built up the back of that, and it was about really serving the mums, the Christian mums community, and especially ones with young kids. And then what we started to realize through that community was a lot of these young mums were having babies and going to baby showers. So we positioned this product as a really great baby shower product. Yeah. And we just so it just took off in there, and then I was able to use the retargeting with the tracking pixel and all of that. But as quickly as this business grew, it came down, crashing down just as hard, very fast. Because I learned what I was great at, but I also learned what I was very weak at, and that was the back end logistics. And I was a one-man show trying to do this all on my own, and trying to keep up with those orders. This was all before automation, so I was processing all those orders at AliExpress like one at a time. So thousands of orders coming in a day. I couldn't, created a bottleneck, couldn't keep up with that. So I scrambled. I hired 5 Filipinos to be able to jump in and try and help, alleviate that bottleneck. It was a little bit too too soon. And then I started having supplier issues. Like I created a perfect storm scenario for myself. Like suppliers ran out of products.
Yeah.
And I did the naive thing of trying to ride it out. I kept my Facebook ads. I didn't turn them off completely. I just kept them going. I tried to ride it out. But it just imploded on itself. So the shipping times for products went from like a week to like 12 weeks. So then, everybody started calling me a bit of a fraudster and all of that sort of stuff. So I had to go through that whole journey. Not proud of the fact I actually ended up in court with that whole thing because I took payments when I probably shouldn't have. And I had to take ownership of that and clean up that mess, and I refunded everybody. So I walked out of that whole experience with the $1.6 million in revenue with maybe like 2% profit out of the whole thing.
Wow.
So
wow.
it was
wow.
a university marketing degree, business degree, like what people probably would have went through in 5 years. I did that in 4 months. And so,
that's pretty impressive that, as a one person show,
yeah,
you made it to over 1 million, and, you learned a lot of lessons. Like if you were to be able to go back and talk to young Jeff just a few years ago and say, hey, this is really going to take off, but here's what you need to have in place to make it work, what would you tell him?
basically that. I'd tell him, the whole strategic roadmap to make sure that you get in preparation mode. It says proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. And and think about the big picture strategy. Don't just get caught up into the micro of now. You got to keep, play chess and think those 2, 3, 4 steps ahead.
And who would you have hired or brought in team members? Yes. At what point in that process, and who would you have brought on first?
Great question. Look, I would have tried to work myself out of a job very quickly, and so I would have brought on that marketing person that was bigger and better than me, and to take it and scale it, and help me to then go focus on what I love now, which I know now which is like leadership, and talking to people and building them up and empowering them. Like I can build funnels with my eyes closed. I can do Facebook ads with my eyes closed, but I don't really enjoy it. Like it puts money on the table. Yeah. It's not a passion. It's like it's a have to thing. So I'd outsource that stuff first.
Yeah. So the lessons that you learned from that thing, what was the next thing that you did that you took those lessons from the elephant business into the next phase of your life? What was next?
Yeah. So I cleaned up the dust, got bucked off the horse. So dust myself off, get back into it again. And I went back to what I know. So I went back to full stack digital marketing agency business. And so about from 2017 to 2020, created a very successful digital marketing agency. And we niched down in servicing health industry. So gyms, chiropractors, massage centers.
Okay.
And we became the go-to people here in Australia for customer acquisition pipelines and lead generation centers, especially gyms, right? And so we had a couple of big gyms that we were looking after and just doing all their Facebook advertising for them, doing all the lead generation and helping them to nurture them on that customer value journey. I threw myself into Ryan Dice's digitalmarketer.com and became one of his certified partners during that time. And so by COVID came along, had a very successful agency, had 5 guys working for me full time. I was working quite a fair bit. I was probably in hindsight, on the road to burnout. But then COVID came along, and it basically lost that business overnight because I had niched down. Like 90% of our clients were gyms and massage centers, that type of thing.
Right.
And,
And they all require hands-on.
Yeah,
right?
And they all got locked down. Right. So especially here in Australia, and your home stomping ground, Melbourne, right? Got locked down for close on 9 months. And,
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah. So lost that business overnight, and a lot of hard lessons through that experience as well. But we were doing close on probably $1 million a year in monthly retainers with that, and so pretty successful in that space. But then I had the realization that I was, if not burnt out, I was on the road to burnout. And
Now, was that the lesson from it? Because COVID was such a unique thing. It's like once in a lifetime type thing. At least we hope so, or we hope it never happens again. So, while there were lessons learned because of COVID, but what lessons did you learn that, could have taken you to the next level if it wasn't for COVID?
Yeah. Once again, it's like the whole elephant story is not trying to have to be everything for everybody, not trying to wear all the hats. And even though that I had a team, half the reason I was on the road to burnout was because I still wanted to keep control over every element of the business. And learning to trust and learning to let go and, leadership really, like learning to grow as a leader instead of just being that positional leader, learning to be that leader who leads by influence and trust and faith. And so I've really had to grow into that space over the last decade and a half. And it's come through wisdom and experience and, in that space as well. But also the big light bulb moment, and this is what I teach now at the Laptop Lifestyle Dads Academy, is not being attached to the transactional result, but being attached to the mission, the purpose and the intention of why we're doing it. And what that...
Okay, so talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, so what that does is it doesn't make it about me anymore. And it doesn't make... When we're attached to a transaction, it's all about how can I, essentially manipulate the game to get more transactions. And it's very much about me, myself, and I. It's very much about ego, in that conversation.
Yeah.
But when we can make it about service, like servanthood leadership, and we can make it about mission and purpose, the best story I can think about in this whole example is think of Paul, out of the Bible, also known as Saul of Tarsus. Like he had a mission to help spread the gospel. And
right.
But he went through flogging, stoning, shipwrecks, death, or numerous times, but he never gave up. Right. The mission was the main thing, and the main thing was the main thing, and he, he did whatever he needed to do to make that happen. See, when we get attached to the transactional conversations, and when transactions don't happen, when we don't get the wins on the board, it's very easy to get deflated, disheartened, disempowered, and essentially get in procrastination and give up, right? So I'm very big now about teaching people, and especially network and affiliate marketers, to create their own personal brand. But their brand is not about them. It's about who they serve, why they serve them, and it's not about their why. It's about why the world needs them. That what Jim Collins talks about in Good to Great, that geeky spot.
Right.
That sweet spot, and creating a brand around that and a purpose around that, and then just go and be content creators and go serve.
Yeah, that's so good. So is that the lesson that came out of the fall of your business because of COVID, or is that something that has kind of been a learning from since then?
I think it's a learning since then more than anything, but COVID gave it permission to go deep. Losing my business overnight and then coming back out of the dust of that and going, okay, what do I want my life to look like moving forward? What's the rebuild here? And so I had to, I was reading actually Good to Great through that whole process. And so I had to really get crystal clear on what am I great at, but I don't want to do anymore. Like the thought of building websites, the thought of building funnels, the thought of building, Facebook ad campaigns, like I'm great at it. I love to teach it, but I really don't like doing it anymore. I'd rather find people that I can empower and delegate to in that space and get them going. And that leadership responsibility, that empowers me. So I had to find that circle of things of what I'm good at, but I don't want to do anymore. But on the flip side of that, what am I great at and I love doing? And what can I get paid? What can I get paid to do in that space? And then in the third circle down the bottom here for me, if I draw a Venn diagram, the third circle, we'll divide that into two. Who do I want to serve and who do I not want to serve? Working out who my people are, like that nailing your niche type conversation. Right. And so out of COVID, the Laptop Lifestyle Dads has sort of been 3 years in the journey now, but out of COVID, I decided I wanted to become a travel ambassador. And so using my
where did that come from?
Yeah, just because I wanted a fresh new angle and a fresh new, we love travel. My wife and I, ever since
and because we were locked down during COVID, so we couldn't travel. So you probably got this hankering for some travel.
Extra. And I thought, coming out of COVID, travel would be a great product to sell as well. And, because everybody else wants to now travel. Actually, the industry boomed out of COVID.
Well, everybody was locked down for so long that it's like, I've got to get out there. I don't want this to ever happen to me again. So
like the whole elephant story, right? It taught me about putting the right product in front of the right people at the right time. And so, and I wanted to do something that I wanted to build a brand and a business around that I could enjoy and I could really love. And the reward of that is travel. It's not just going travel. The reward of travel, especially when you do it with your family and your loved ones, is the shared connected stories, the memories that they make. See, the things like the iPhone, this great microphone, the Mac, they get forgotten about in 5 years. They collect dust and we never remember again. But the memories, those shared connected stories, they last us a lifetime. I reckon they actually probably go to heaven with us. Well, absolutely. They're the intangibles, but they're the things that really matter the most. And every well-rounded, like connected family I've ever come across have normally one thing in common. They have a lot of shared connected memories together. And so travel helps that conversation be fostered and encourages that. So that was the main reason why I love travel, and I wanted to become an ambassador for travel in that space. So I joined a network marketing company called Dream Trips International. With my marketing experience, I thought I'd be great at it. Out the gate, I'd be the master. Well, ego got in the way, and I totally sucked at it the first 6 months. I had to work out that it's not about, systems and automation. It's actually about relationships and connections.
Yeah.
So,
and so,
yeah,
go ahead.
So fast forward out of that, I worked it out and I brought the experience, and then I became the #1 global recruiter for about 18 months for Dream Trips and built a pretty successful team. And people started asking me, okay, Jeff, what are you doing? How are you using social media to attract strangers and, enroll them into a team and get them duplicating as well? And so the Laptop Lifestyle Dads coaching business was born out of the back of that.
And that's what you're now, that's your income stream, is from coaching people on how how to leave the grind and have a laptop. Like what is the thing that you're offering now?
Yeah. So the mission for the Laptop Lifestyle Dads is it's about helping take frustrated affiliate network marketers, transform them into laptop lifestyle legends, teaching them how to use social selling, attraction marketing, and leveraging AI to make their first $10,000 a month online, so they can become that fun vacation, mum or dad, fueled by dad jokes, of course.
Yeah.
So they can make memories with their family. Everything's about that coming back to the memories part, right? That legacy part. So then, using the 15 plus years as a digital marketer in this space, one thing I come to realize, and especially in the network marketing space, is that a lot of people get into this, a lot of mums and dads especially get into it because they're attracted to the opportunity, they're attracted to the possibility, they're attracted to the products, and then go, oh crap, now I need to learn how to do this thing called business. Now I need to learn how to do this thing called marketing. And I've just had over a decade learning all of that, and mastering in my own way. And so I came into the network marketing space with all of that wealth of wisdom and experience to be able to now then go serve people in that space to be able to help them duplicate those results. And I love social selling. I love storytelling, and I love teaching people how to build a personal brand. And I know network marketing has its own bad stigma, but so does just about everything else, really. And, if you come into it for the wrong reasons, the wrong expectations, you're going to get probably disempowered. But if you come into it building, learning the fundamental foundational skills around marketing, and then build your own personal brand and your own influence and your own authority, then all network marketing opportunities is just products on our shelves. We're not attached to them, if anything. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So the end goal is to have the laptop lifestyle, and the vehicle for it was through social selling and personal brand building. So talk a little bit about social selling. What are you helping people to achieve as, people that are selling stuff online? What are some of the things that you start helping them with?
A lot of it's around getting the concept of storytelling. Building their, it's leadership 101. It's building up their influence, and a lot of that comes into belief and, around the fundamental foundationals around that. Our academy that we run, the first 6 weeks is the first week is what's your why? Your why will help you to figure out your mission. And then we move into who's your people, who's your tribe. So working out what's your community like, how can we position you as the go-to influential person in that community, and paint the picture that, look, this is a journey. You've got to build that. And look, I really believe that we're all somebody's guide. We're either being guided or we're guiding. And the only difference between any one of us is how far down the path we are. So getting people at very early stages to realize that they're already further down the path than people who are not even started. So, that's relatable, right? It's much easier to connect with someone who's doing it with you, or just 2 steps down the road, than it is to try and reach out to Tony Robbins, for example. Like, it's too aspirational, and that shuts us down. So going into that buying psychology around getting them to understand and building their belief around that, but it starts with their why. And then it's not even just their why, it's why would people want to connect with them? What's the why around the greater good, the legacy impact type why? And then so getting them to build a personal brand at these fun foundations around finding their message, finding their voice, mastering their message, and nailing their niche. And then we start to empower them on how to leverage AI to create content, that looks and feels, it sounds like them, and leverage ChatGPT to do cool things with AI imagery, and so really beginner level stuff. But there's a need right there, especially for the the newbie. So we're working in that space, and then we help with the intermediates, to start to play around with, getting creative with custom GPTs and all the other really awesome AI tools out there now with video avatars and imagery and all that. Look, I use ChatGPT to write a book in 4 hours. So wow. Social selling and AI mastery for network marketers. What I did was I do a free boot camp once a month. So I got all of the recorded boot camps that I did for 12 months, got them all transcribed. We uploaded it to ChatGPT, and with a bit of revision back and forth, we wrote a 18 chapter book together in 4 hours.
Wow. So, all right. So talk a little bit more about social selling, for those that are like, okay, I want the laptop lifestyle. And, you'd mentioned that's the end goal. But I want to talk about, more about those vehicles of what are some other things that you're currently helping people with the social selling, with, using AI. AI's, so young and so recent, and it seems like it's been around for a lot longer than it has, but it hasn't really been around that long, at least the accessibility to the average person. I mean, AI has been around for a while. And so talk a little bit more about that. What are some of the other tools, and what are some of the other ways that you're helping people utilize AI for selling online and building a personal brand?
Yeah. So I'm an attraction marketing and social selling coach first and foremost. That's what I've mastered for the last 10 plus years. And I'm still really learning how to leverage AI in this space. And I've got people that I refer to, like Jonathan Mast and, Dave Miller, who's on our team, to be able to support that conversation. They know a lot more around this than I do. I know how to prompt. I know how to create images. I know how to do video stuff. And so I'm teaching very much at that beginner level. But what I'm teaching more is attraction marketing. And build a personal brand and leveraging AI in that space to be able to help support that conversation. Then I network, I bring the right people in. So attraction marketing, right? It's leadership 101. It's building influence, and I really feel like you hear Gary Vaynerchuk talk about live commerce, live shopping. We've got influencers marketing now, and it's not the big influencers like Kim Kardashian or Mr. Beast or anything like that. It's right. I believe that we're stepping into a stage now where it's the nano influencer. I've been in this game for a little while, so have you, but I'd see that this is probably the easiest way to make money online today is learning how to be an affiliate marketer. And there are a lot of different affiliate platforms out there right now. Have just improved, like right back from today's of like ClickBank and Warrior Forum right through to now. Like I'm a pioneer for a company called Shoply. So what Shoply is it's think of TikTok Shop, Amazon, and Amway had a baby. You've got Shoply, right? So Shoply is a decentralized e-commerce platform. So I'm a vendor on this platform. I've got my coach and my coaching mentoring business as an e-learning product on this platform. And so it's only just launched 6 months ago. And, there are other, I've just brought on Dr. Joseph McClendon and Malcolm Jamal Warner from Make It Matters membership. Joseph is Tony Robbins' peak performance coach. So through my relationship through the Los Angeles Tribune, through good old-fashioned networking, I was able to then bring in one of the world's top peak performance coaches to this company called Shoply. And we just launched his product on there 2 weeks ago. And so we can bring on other vendors now. Think of like when Amazon first started, if you had someone like me bringing on vendors, and then that person who brought on the product as like the product finder got a 3% royalty for global sales made through the platform. So that's what we've all got potential of doing here through this platform. So it's in our incentive to go bring on quality products to support the ecosystem. It's a really true collaborative ecosystem, right? Because it's got networkers like myself bringing on other vendors onto the platform to bring quality products. And then we've got the everyday people who are just getting started in this space as affiliates. So you've got something for everybody. If you just want to be an affiliate and you just want to go promote other people's products and learn how to do that, great, we've got you covered. If you want to be like a team leader and, build an army of affiliates and influencers and, bring on other products as vendors, great, we've got you covered. If you just want to be a vendor and have your product in front of an affiliate army who's primed and ready to go to represent your product, great, we've got you covered. Or you could be like me and you can do everything. And, go all in. So I'm a vendor, I'm an influencer, I'm an affiliate builder, in that space to be able to really leverage this whole opportunity as one of the pioneers. And so that's the vehicle to help monetize the influence part. So I teach people how to become content creators and build a personal brand and, lead with, creating engaging, entertaining, educational content, to be able to add value. So we get people out of this whole link spamming and direct pitching and, you see so many people do online now. It's a very noisy place. And I teach people how to build trust and influence. And I teach people how to leverage AI to help them to become better, more effective content creators.
Right. So is it time to bring the elephant back? Are you going to ever bring the elephant back?
Look,
now that you're doing something like Shopley.
Yeah, I've had that question. My wife keeps bringing that up too. She keeps asking, is it time to bring it up? Is it 2.0 or 3.0 version? Yeah, look, I reckon I could go crush it now with a lot of different experience, but I've got to be honest, it's there's a lot of past hurt, wounds, a lot of fear. A fear starts to come up. It's like, I don't want to ever put myself back in that position again.
Yeah. So this sounds fascinating to me. I want to be a laptop dad. I want to have a laptop lifestyle. I'm going to throw away my, doing branding and design and all that. And I want to join what you're doing. Mm-hmm. What would be the first step that you would tell somebody to consider in doing something like this?
Get onto a free game planning session with me. part of being a customer value journey expert and teaching people how to build, like, there's 8 steps in a predictable customer value, right? So the first step is creating massive awareness. That's content, awareness to bring in the pain and the struggle, the solutions, the before versus after conversation. Then we move into engagement. Engagement is that first interaction where we start to build trust and influence. Then we build into the subscribe stage, which is, everybody talks about building your list. Yes, that's part of it. But I reckon subscribe stage is what I probably better have called the conversation stage. You're now building a relationship. You're building trust. You're building that space where you can find common ground and people now know, like, and trust you. But even deeper than that, they can connect, relate, and resonate with you. And essentially, once you've got that trust, you've now qualified people. You can now invite them into the next stage, which is the convert stage. And so it's now getting out of that space of now, like, really spammy type sales to like servanthood sort of type sales, and where we're now inviting people in because they're qualified and they're that you can help them. So that's that convert stage, that invite stage. Then it moves on to the excitement wow stage. You actually deliver on the promise and you deliver on the transformation. Then that gives us the opportunity to now upsell, cross-sell, downsell, because we've got the trust and we can now get into our profit maximizer stage. But then we can then get into brand ambassadors and testimonials and referrals and all of that, and take people from cold to sold. But it doesn't stop there. Now we've got probably a percentage of those people who love us and can't stop talking about us. So why not incentivize them to be affiliates for us and be that that referral partner network program going? And so when you can create those 8 predictable steps, we can then just go show up and shine and just go serve. We take the attachment away from the outcome. Like we married the process, but we divorced the outcome. But you need strategy, you need purpose, you need intention. You need someone to guide you through to do that. And so on our game planning sessions, so we basically have our pipeline dialed in. So the very first step into enrolling into our community is the Laptop Lifestyle Dads Academy. It's an 8-week rolling program where we teach you these fundamentals. And people stay more than 8 weeks. They come back for the third, the fourth, the sixth go round because they're learning something new each time for where they're at. It's like, when you read a really good book and you read it 10 times over 10 years, different things hit home because your own learning, your own growth. And we mix up the curriculum each time. Like it's bigger and it's better and it's different each time, but it's still the same topic. So that's a pretty low fee to jump in that entry. That's a tripwire type product. That's our first convert stage. And then it's only invite only into our high ticket sort of 12-month mentoring program for that. You've got to go through the academy to get to the mentoring stage. So it's qualified invitation.
So for the person that's like, I'm interested in this, what kind of a person is it for and what kind of a person is it not for?
Yeah, great question. If you're a farmer and you probably never turned a computer on, probably not for you. Who's it for? It's for anybody who's really wanting to get into this space and like any aspiring entrepreneur who's a high achiever who is frustrated, who's probably been in the network or affiliate marketing space for a little while now, maybe 5 or 6 years, and had a taste of some sort of success, like they've got some sort of wins, but absolutely frustrated because they just can't figure it out. They've seen people like myself succeed, in this space and just, wake at 3 a.m. in the morning, just scratching their head, just going, what are they doing? What am I missing? That type of conversation, right? So, I'm just a guide. I'm just a facilitator. And I've learned how to empower and equip people, and I've learned how not to save and rescue people, in that space. And just point people in the right direction. And I really come to this space. I reckon we're in a space with AI now that knowledge is worth $0. I really feel like with YouTube, with Facebook, you can go find any piece of knowledge now online and not have to pay for it. So what do people pay for? Well, they pay for accountability. They pay for community. They pay for collaboration. They pay for trust and authority. They want to know that you've been where you've been and you've gone up the mountain 10,000 times and come back and you're taking other people up with you. And, they're paying for that experience and that wisdom to be able to guide people, right? And so I'm very big on being a hero maker, not just the hero. And teaching other people to be hero makers, because I've got a big mission and I can't do it on my own.
Yeah. And so, when you're talking about affiliate marketing and, you talk about Shoply, do you have to have your own? Do you have to, what are you an affiliate for? What does that mean for somebody that's entering into the space? They've heard of, kind of know what affiliates are. What do you tell them to explain what it means that you would be selling to get to this laptop lifestyle?
Yeah, you're an ambassador, is a better term. So at the moment, Shoply's still pretty young. Like in 5 months, I think we've done pretty well. We've got 150 vendors on. We've got over 1,500 SKUs, different products there, from anything from weight loss to, coaching and personal development, that space and whatnot, and everything in between. So there are a lot of different products that you can get on there. So I just brought on a vendor who sells a product for your garden. It's called Earth Food, and it puts microbiomes into our soil. So we're growing vegetables and flowers from healthy soil. I didn't realize myself that, every time I've gone to plant something, it dies within about 3 weeks now. And I thought it was just me. But I now realize that our soil is dead. The nutrients and the stuff it's meant to have in it, the micronutrients, has just been zapped out of it through over gardening and stuff. And so this product, it puts microbiomes back into the soil. And so I've done a bit of an experiment. And so we're recording this journey, from day 0 to day 30 of watching our veggie garden grow. And I just put up a post there the other day, 16 days into it. We planted these seedlings from Bunnings, and 16 days, these are thriving. I've never seen anything like it before. And I'm not the owner of Earth Foods. I'm just an ambassador of Earth Foods, but I've been recording this story and I've been sharing this, this excitement and the transformation of journey from before versus after. And I've been positioning this product as the bridge to the conversation. And just on the last post that I did, there's nothing to write home about. The numbers are growing. I sold 10 products. By putting the right product in front of the right people at the right time, built off the back of my influence and trust that I've built over time. And so anybody has a circle of influence, right? We all recommend, our favorite shoes, our favorite movies, and, our favorite restaurants. Well, just imagine if you did that, there was also an incentivized bonus for doing that as well. You don't do it because of that,
right?
But you do it because you want to serve first and earn second. And now we can start to monetize our social media accounts.
Yeah, kind of like TikTok Shop and things like that. Is basically you get a product that you like, and some people they'll sell anything, but you get a product that you like, and just you make money by selling it and by showing it.
So the difference between TikTok Shop and Shoply is, and this is why it's called decentralized e-commerce, because TikTok Shop and Amazon they take their piece of the pie, like they control the commission structure on that. They take their piece of the pie from the vendor and the affiliate, from both sides of it.
Well,
so if I'm on TikTok Shop and I sold a product that I could potentially get $100 commission for, well, I'm probably going to get maybe $85 commission because TikTok's going to take their $15. But here's with Shoply, if you sell a product that's 100%, $100 commission, you get $100 commission for the affiliate. And what Amazon does or TikTok does is they tell the vendors what commission that they've got to give out to their products. They don't really control that. Whereas as a vendor on Shoply, we get to control that. 10% of it goes to Shoply. Like they've got to do their thing and make their money. They're a business after all. But then after that, I as a vendor get a sliding scale of I can give as much as I want after that as the piece of the pie. And then I can decide how much goes towards the affiliate and how much goes towards the network marketing side of it. And, it's a sliding scale. So it's the power is in our hands.
Yeah. So talk about the person that says, I need more information.
Yeah. So
why people get stuck.
Why people get stuck? Because they get up in their own head. Fear is what probably keeps people stuck. Procrastination, confusion, overwhelm. That all comes from a lack of clarity. And I find when a confused mind takes no action. So as a coach and a mentor in this space, my absolute responsibility is to help people get clear. The way I like to describe it is, here's a story for you. Sir Edmund Hillary was the first recorded person to climb Mount Everest, right? First recorded person. But what they don't talk about was the Sherpa. The Sherpa who had been up the mountain probably 1,000 times before Sir Edmund Hillary did, because he knew where to guide Sir Edmund Hillary up the mountain, right? So he had to have gone up there a few times. And that's as influencers what we really are. We're the Sherpa of the conversation. We're the guide. And our audience is the hero of the conversation. And our products are the bridge. So when we can stop selling the product and we can start focusing on impact around transformation results and outcomes, and we position ourselves as the person who's just, guiding people to the right products for them, then that helps us to build our influence and helps us to get out of that spammy, scammy, salesy space to become into a position of leadership and influence and servanthood leadership. And I feel as leaders in this industry, as pioneers, it's our absolute responsibility to set our people up to succeed, not fail. And by creating a clear picture around expectations around the journey of what is possible, but what is also going to happen, what are also the challenges that you're going to face, because let's face it, transformation's messy. And going from 0 to 10K is probably the hardest thing that you'll ever do. Because you've got to change, you've got to transform, you've got to relearn things, you've got to get unconditioned. It's our job as leaders in that space to create clarity every step of the way.
Yeah. So talking about clarity, you had shared earlier about, people that read books, they can read the same book 10 times, and each time they read it, they're at a different place in life. And you mentioned people also do your course. because of that. They're at a different place in their business, and so they do the course over and over. And even though they might have heard something earlier, it resonates differently when they listen to it as they're further down the track. So you had also mentioned that you started off as an atheist, and then you became a believer in Jesus. So what has changed in the way you do business since it's you've kind of gone down the road a little bit, you're a couple of years down the road? What has changed in the way you do business and the things that you started off with now that you didn't do then?
Me doing the internal messy work and going to doing the hard work. Because what I haven't mentioned too is I'm also now an online church pastor. 12 months ago, my wife and I started an online church. Today's discipleship community. So gone from atheist to church planner in 10 years. So how I summed that transformation was I had to learn how to love myself. Now, I'm not talking about being an arrogant, egotistical way, but to love myself in the way that God loves me, the way he sees me.
Yeah.
So, really it's the great commandment, right? Love myself, love God, and love others. So if I had to sum it all up in one word, two words, it's transformative love. And our mission for, our online church, today's discipleship community is quite simple. Is to transform the one through Jesus' love.
Yeah.
And that's what it is,
That's good.
As marketers, as coaches, as entrepreneurs, our other responsibility is to always lead people to hope, light, and joy and love. And how do we do that?
Yeah.
Well, we do that by helping people feel seen, heard, known, understood. And ultimately all of that equals to help you feel loved.
Wow. I love that. So as we wrap this up, what's a head smack moment for you that, changed everything, or a question that I haven't asked you that you'd like to share before we wrap this up?
Just to embrace the messy and be okay with failing forward, because learning is messy, growth is messy, transformation is messy. When we reflect back, or you watch kids, especially, learning to walk, learning to eat, learning to talk, like we forget about how many times that we had to fall over, have the food go on our face, stumble over our words. I reflect back on, horse riding. I learned how to ride a horse before I could walk. I grew up out in the bush.
Wow.
And, when I had the horse jump on my neck, like I was riding to breaking in horses and all that. So I probably broke in over 500 horses in my early 20s. And I had I remember clearly right now, when I was 10 years old, I had an old bushman come up to me and say, Jeff, he said, you don't know how to ride a horse until you've learned how to fall off 1,000 times. So go put yourself in a position to fall off 1,000 times. Like, in today's helicopter parenting world, we would never say that, would we? So he encouraged me to go get bucked off, to go fall off, to go do crazy things, to put myself in positions. And that taught me how to ride. And that's been basically, as you can hear from the elephant story to every other story. The common through line there is I've just embraced failure. And I've learned how to fail forward fast and grow out.
Wow. And so what are you excited about next?
Oh, the future's very bright. It feels like I'm on a rocket ship to the moon at the moment. So very, very excited about the new partnership with the Los Angeles Tribune as an ambassador for that space, because now I get to play at a bigger game. I'm doing all of the done for you marketing now for Dr. Joseph McClendon and Malcolm Jamal Warner and, the Los Angeles Tribune. I've got Mary Glorifield in my inner circle now, who was Tony Robbins' VP for 18 years. So I've got a lot of influential people in my life, and the whole conversation around rising tides raise all ships. And what's really encouraging me and empowering me is I've got those people in my life, but I can now also bring those people, these amazing people, to my circle of influence, to our community, to be able to get them exposure to that and proximity to that. That excites me. Just this morning, like I was up at 4 a.m. this morning, and there was 30 of us, and I probably personally brought in about 15 people into this conversation. So there was about 30 of us. We just got to spend an hour and a half intimately with Dr. Joseph McClendon and Malcolm Jamal Warner, going through their Make It Matters membership, peak performance and transformation coaching. And like, I just got off, just before I got on this podcast with you, my inbox is just blowing up with messages of thanks and gratitude for inviting people into that conversation.
Wow.
So,
wow.
I'm looking to do that in a bigger, wider scale.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Well, how do people get a hold of you that want to, either join your groups or learn more about you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so go to probably Facebook is where I hang out and live most of the place. So search for Jeffery, but Jeffery, Ross, and then I've got the blue check there because verified, because there are a lot of imposters trying to fake me.
Right.
And so you also see in brackets there, the Laptop Lifestyle Dad. Is probably the best place to go to. Or my personal email is Jeff, Jeff, at LLD for Laptop Lifestyle Dad. So Jeff at LLD.email. Reach out. I love to chat. I'm obsessed with helping people.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. This has been amazing. It's also been embarrassing on how terrible my Australian accent is compared to yours.
Crikey,
so people are going to listen to this. Yeah, people are going to listen to this, and it's like, Paul doesn't sound Australian at all compared to Jeff. So thanks for that, man. And it's been a great conversation, and glad we connected. And I look forward to following your adventures as you continue on.
My absolute,
so thank you for being on, man.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's been an absolute hoot.
You are listening to Conversations with Misfits, Mavericks, and Trailblazers.